I'll share. I'll share my screen and make the usual statement that California is a two-party state. So if you don't want to be recorded, you need to, or you should scram out of here. So, I like to put images on page one that, speak to the title. And so I thought I did today. Why do we count points and how do we count points? And I think we'll have a lot of fun going through this. So, first and foremost, it turns out that recordings of these sessions are now being created and placed on YouTube in a Planet Hool channel.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Phil.
If I in fact said that right. So thanks to Rachel. And she always picks a good image, to describe the session. So this was all of our faces as we're thinking about how to learn. And this is my mom and dad. So, speaking of my mom and dad, well, that'll be in 2 slides. I came across this slide today and I just couldn't resist including it.
Oh, your mom looks good there.
I don't know why I came across this, but I just think it's really symbolic of bridge. It's a partnership game. You play together. You have to trust each other. You have to follow one another's lead. You have to be supportive of one another and celebrate when you have fun. And if you want, you can celebrate when you have a good result. That's but celebrating the fun is most important. So today we're going to talk about counting points, why we do it, and how we do it. And we count points because that information helps us know how high to bid. So that's the why. And then the rest of it is going to be the how. So we'll talk today about high cards. We'll talk about length. We'll talk about shortness. We'll put it all together about how to count points. And then we'll talk a little bit about how that helps you and your partner figure out, do you bid as high as game? Do you bid slam? Do you stop lower? And the message on that is, as you look at your points and your partners, you get a sense of, do we need to stop? At the other extreme, can we just go shooting off the game? Or do we need to be somewhere in between where we ask partner, gee, I'm interested, are you interested? So next 2 slides are, I think, my favorite slides I ever did. So this is background about counting points. Okay, this is background. So we all remember good old Albie. He was big on doing thought experiments. And so I wanted to do a thought experiment. Suppose that you pick up those 12 cards. Let's take a look at them. I think it's 12 cards. Ted, check me. I think it's 12 cards. Looks like 12 high card
like
points.
12. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 3 is 10, plus 2 is 12.
Thank you. So it got 12 high card points, got 5 spades. It's looking like a nice opening bid hand, but you still get to pick up one more card and put it in your hand. So here's my thought experiment. Which card would you rather have for your 13th card?
2 of spades.
2 of spades.
2 of spades. Absolutely. I mean, look at the difference in these hands. That first hand has a lovely 6-card trump suit. There's not too many clubs. The bad guys can't take too many club tricks. This bottom hand, we got the jack of clubs instead. So if we were counting points, trying to evaluate the strength of our hand, don't all the books tell you to count a point for the jack of clubs?
Yeah.
Well, heck, we'd rather have the 2 of spades. It's got to be worth a point. I like the top hand a lot better. And the message here, the reason is that length in your trump suit in particular, length creates tricks. That 2 of spades in a spade contract is 100% sure to take a trick. Do we think the jack of clubs is going to take a trick? Well, maybe if partner has the king queen. So the point is that the extra spade to me is worth more than the jack of clubs is. So this is our background and our motivation for why we're going to end up counting length points. So the second background thought experiment is this. Suppose partner
Still
opens
question.
Yes.
So are you saying you would count a point for the extra length for 6 cards?
Yes.
Or would you count a 1 for the doubleton?
I would count for the extra length. We'll get to that in a minute, but
Okay.
why don't we do it now? The way I count points is I count my high card points in the traditional fashion. And then if I have any suits that are 5 cards or longer, I add a point for the 5th one. I add another point for the 6th one. I'd add another point for the 7th one. So in my view, this hand here is worth 12 in high cards and 1, 2 in length. I'd evaluate this as a 14-point hand. I actually think it's a pretty good 14-point hand.
Phil, can I ask a question?
You already did, Joel. Feel free to ask another.
Can I ask a second question?
Here we go.
This may be getting ahead of it, but in this case, if you had that bottom one with the jack, since it's a loser anyway, because there's so many high cards above it, do you not count the 1 point for the jack?
I would count the jack as 1 point. There's a wonderful bridge writer named Marty Bergen, who is really, 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 really good at hand evaluation.
Mhm.
And he and others say that aces are really worth like 4.5, and kings are worth 3, and queens are worth 1.5 to 1 3/4, and jacks are worth about 3/4, and tens are worth 1/4. And so that's why we use 4, 3, 2, 1,
Okay.
because everybody would quit if we talked about
Okay.
the other
Because
part.
I'm just looking at that, and the jack 4-2 is a pretty useless suit there, right?
Excellent. That's an excellent observation. And as you look at hands over time, you'll look at a hand like this and you'll say, you know, it adds up to 13, but it's kind of cruddy 13.
Uh-huh.
But you'll look at this one and say, well, this one adds up to 14 and it's kind of nice. So excellent question.
Okay.
Okay, another thought experiment. Partner opens a heart. And which of these 2 hands would you rather have? All I did was move the 5 of clubs over to be the 5 of diamonds. That's the only change I made. Which hand do you like better after partner opens a heart?
The bottom one.
Bottom
Bottom one. How come?
Because of the singleton.
Because of the singleton. And what in particular does the singleton do for us?
Creates a void.
Creates a void.
After the bad guys take a trick we don't have anymore, and now partner who's got the long hearts, if he has a couple or she has a couple of losing clubs, she can trump them over here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, 5 cards in the diamond suit helps you bid too, right? Because you can.
Five cards in the diamond suit is
Overcall.
potentially beneficial.
Yeah.
That gets into counting points 201. Well, and we're in 101. So anyway, I like the bottom hand better because partner can probably trump clubs in my hand. And the message here is that if you have a fit for partner's suit, shortness creates tricks. So this shortness here is going to create tricks because partner is going to be able to trump some clubs over here. So that's the motivation. Let's forge on.
Phil, before we move forward, can you go
Yes.
back 1 minute?
Please. I love the questions. These talks are only as good as the questions.
When you talk about counting shortness, do you count the shortness after the trump suit's been after the trump
Yeah.
suit has been identified? Then do you count your shortness, or do you count your shortness once the bid is solidified?
I count my shortness as soon as I have identified that I have support for partner's suit.
Okay.
Um,
And Phil, in relationship to that question, is it only the partner suit? Trump suit? What if the other guy's over Trump? Well, overbid and get another different Trump. Can you still count shortness?
I'm only counting shortness when I have support for partner's suit.
Okay.
Because the reason that we're counting points is we're trying to figure out how high to bid. Right? And so, like, if we're thinking about making an opening bid, we'll get to this in a sec, we'll count our high cards and our length, because that's all we know.
Right.
But once partner opens or bids a suit, and we know we have a fit, now our shortness can help us.
So is
So
it
we'll
2
look at a bunch
points?
of examples. Go ahead, Diane.
Is it
Gotcha.
2 points for a singleton still?
I would count it 2 points for a singleton, yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'd probably count it 3.
Wow.
What did you say?
I'd probably count it 3
If
Wow.
what?
if it's a singleton, if I have support for partner's suit.
Oh,
So
When you
what
say
would your-
support for partner suit, what do you mean by that? Just that you have a king?
No, support, that's a great question. Support means a fit. It means length. So if partner has opened a heart, I've got 3 hearts, right?
Mhm.
So
And
we've
therefore
got
5.
plenty of hearts to play in a heart contract and have control of the heart suit. But in this case, before partner calls all the trump, she's going to trump a couple of clubs over in my hand. And that's going to create tricks.
So what are you gonna bid?
Well,
3
in this
hearts.
situation, if partner, the short story is if partner opens a heart, I'm going to end up supporting her hearts.
But
With-
wouldn't you bid 3 hearts?
2 hearts.
Yeah, this is a story for when we start doing bidding in about 6 weeks.
Okay,
I personally, I would bid once with the bottom hand, I'd bid 1 spade. And I
really?
wait to see what partner says, because maybe partner goes jumping to the moon and says she has a monster. And I think, oh my God, we got slammed. So
Oh,
So she would be having a monster in spades? Is that what you're saying?
no, maybe she has a monster hand in hearts. And I'm going to show my spade suit. I know this is kind of above our pay grade for today.
Sorry.
But what's really interesting about bridge is you're always thinking about the future and where you're going to go and what you can tell partner and what you want to hear from partner. So if my partner opened a heart and I had the hand at the bottom, I'd be thinking, I've got 9 high card points and 3 for my singleton is a dozen. We're probably going to end up in game and it's probably going to be in hearts. But I don't need to go jumping and flying around all over the place in my bidding. I'll just bid 1 spade
Because if you bid
and
hearts,
I'll wait to see what partner says.
because if you bid hearts to show you at a fit, you eliminate the idea of exploring spades, right?
Well, yeah, and I'm not terribly interested in spades. What I've eliminated is the chance to hear from partner. Does she have a minimal hand? Does she have a big hand? But again, this is in our bidding stuff, which will be some weeks down the line.
Now, last week, we were strongly urged to support your partner. Never give them an alternate. Like if you have a 3 card with a major, 3 card, you can support them, so up it.
It depends a little bit on style and it depends a little bit on context.
Gotcha. Okay.
Marty Bergen says the best bid in bridge is a raise of partner's major.
Yeah.
So
So-
I'm not going to criticize that.
a limit raise with 10 points?
Well, I play that a limit raise shows 4 card support. That's why I did my spade suit.
Oh, boy.
Um,
Okay.
Okay, so now that we've been up in the stratosphere, let's come back down to down to today's talk. So what are the implications? And we looked at length and we looked at shortness. there's two different situations. Well, I'm sorry, that's next slide. The stronger your hand, the more tricks you can take and the higher you can bid, right? So we count points to estimate our hand strength. And what we just looked at was, well, what do we count? We count things that help us take tricks. High cards take tricks. Length in our trump suit as declarer takes tricks. And as dummy in a suit contract, shortness can take tricks because declarer is going to be able to trump things in dummy. So let's look at it one more step. There's two very different situations. One is you don't know whether you have a fit. It's early in the bidding. Maybe you're thinking about, should I open? Or maybe partner bid a suit, but you don't have a fit for it. And so at that point, suppose you have a hand that looks like this. So I got 4, 4, 4, 1. I got 9 high card points. I tend to count by looking at combinations of cards because I'm not so good with adding numbers one at a time. So instead of going 2, 6, 9, I just look at the ace, king, queen and say that's 9. And as you can get used to that, I recommend it. So suppose partner opens a club and this is your hand. Well, the queen and the ace and the king, they clearly have value, but that's it. Okay, it looks like 9 high card points. We'll have to see what happens.
Would you bid a diamond as a kind of, give me anything else but?
The short answer is, in standard American, I would bid, if partner opened a club, I'd bid a diamond. I'm going to bid my 4 card suits up the line. Again, we're a few weeks ahead of ourselves, but I would bid a diamond. And what am I hoping partner will do?
Bid a heart.
Bid a heart or a spade.
Right.
So I'm going to bid a diamond and I'm going to listen, because
Okay.
during the bidding, we tell partner things, but mostly we listen.
Wow.
With 444, you don't name your major first?
Yeah.
I would have named the major first.
Okay, so now we're in graduate school again.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Okay. In graduate school nowadays, with this hand, you bid a heart because you don't care about diamonds.
Right.
But if your hand were stronger and you were able to make 2 bids, you'd bid diamonds first because it give you more time to talk. So,
Okay.
But okay, let's come back from graduate school.
Thank you.
And,
Okay.
and Phil, can I just say that
Yeah.
the ABNs have just started thinking about length points. So this is the first time any of them have heard about shortness points.
Yep. And we'll look at, we already looked once at why we kind of like shortness points. There'll be a good example later about that.
Okay.
But please,
I just want to say that they might be feeling like, what is he talking about? But don't worry, we'll get there.
if ABNs, are you doing okay? Or has this been a real freak out?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I just want to say the ABNs rock.
True.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So here's a really different situation for thinking about how strong your hand is. That's what hand valuation means. How strong is my hand? Here's a really different situation when you have support for partner suit. Let's look at this same hand. And if partner opened a diamond or a heart or a spade, this hand is looking a heck of a lot better, isn't it?
Good point. Yeah.
It's really looking good because your shortness in clubs is valuable. If partner's got a good, strong club suit, your 7 doesn't help much. But if partner's strength and length lies in these other suits, well, maybe partner has 3 cruddy little clubs and she can trump 2 of them over here. So your shortness is valuable when you have a fit for partner's suit. So suppose, for example, you open a heart with this hand. Let's pause for a moment. You open a heart with this hand. It's 4, 7, 10, well, I'd look at it as 10 and 2 is 12, 13, because we count one for length. I open a heart. I'm thinking it's kind of a medium type of hand. And then partner bids a spade. Now I'm excited. Because when partner bids a spade, I know she's got at least 4 spades. I know we have a spade fit. Her hand is going to be kind of the main hand because she bid the spades first. So this little club, all of a sudden, this is valuable. Because if partner has maybe 3 little clubs or the ace and 2 little clubs, she can trump those little clubs over here. Now my shortness is valuable. It wasn't valuable until I knew I had a fit. Does that
So
make
you
sense?
let they end up in hearts?
Well, maybe we'll end up in hearts, but when I open a heart and partner bids a spade, the next thing I'm going to do is bid 2 spades.
2 spades or 2 hearts?
I'm going to bid 2 spades because as I think you said earlier, somebody said earlier, raise partners major.
But why did they pick hearts? Why did they pick spades over hearts when heart support is just amazing?
Well, no, this
We
is
don't know.
our hand.
Okay.
This is our hand and we open a heart. And then partner, we don't know what's in partner's
okay.
hand. Partner bid a spade.
Oh, I
Got
thought
it.
it was the other hand. I
Yeah,
could see.
Yeah,
Okay. got it.
now I should have put a thing that said partner with a big question mark.
Okay.
And partner
it.
bids a spade. Now we get excited
Mhm.
because our shortness is going to help. Why did I keep saying this shortness wasn't really very valuable before? We'll see that on a later slide, but I moved it to after slide 11, Deborah,
Thank you.
because it freaks people out.
Thank you.
All right.
We aim to not freak too many people out.
Yeah. But you know, when my mom and dad taught me how to play bridge in the 60s, they would look at this hand and they'd say it's 12 high card points and 2 for the singleton,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And when my wife dragged me back to the table kicking and screaming in 2015, everybody was counting shortness. Everybody was counting length. And I was kind of like, well, God damn it, my mother said count shortness. You know, and after a little while, I realized that technology has evolved. As much as I love my mother, it's better to count length until you have a fit. But we'll get to that. So when you're thinking, should I open this hand? We count points to estimate our strength. We count our high card points. And we count our length points. Let's go back to that first thought experiment.
Mhm.
High cards are good and length in our trump suit is good.
Mhm.
So how do we do it? High cards, we don't use the scientifically precise, everybody would quit playing bridge method. We just approximate with 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Side question. Suppose you have a king and a queen and a jack all in the same suit. That's all you have. And versus a king and a queen and a jack in 3 different suits, and that's all you have. Which one do you like better?
One suit.
All the same.
All in one suit because they're helping each other. Eventually, you'll get to start thinking about things like that in terms of the quality of your hand and the quality of your high card points. But for today, this is perfectly good. We'll do this. We'll count the usual 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to add for length. If you have a 5 card suit, we're going to add 1. If it's 6 cards, we'll add another 1. If it's 7, we'll add another 1, and we'll just keep going. So we'll take our high cards plus our length. For now, let's not worry about length points when we're thinking about opening in no trump. So here's an example. I think it might be the hand we looked at the very start. So I count, I'm thinking about opening the bidding. I count 10, 11, 12 high cards.
Mhm.
13,
and
14.
1, 2 for length. I
Mhm.
count this as 14 points. It's
Mhm.
a nice opening bid. It's a not, in fact, it's a nice 14 points.
Mhm.
You know, the ace and king are working together. I don't have scattered kings and queens and jacks too much. I like this hand. Now, here's the other time we count points, when you have support for partners suit. So Robin and I are partners. Robin opens a heart and I have heart support. Now, counting the strength in my hand, I can still count high card points, but I also count shortness points if I have support for partner. And go ahead.
And support is 3 or
3 or
4
more.
cards?
3 or more.
With an honor or
more.
without, or doesn't it matter?
I don't care about honors.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Honors are for wimps. We saw that hand last week where we had 8 diamonds to the 9 and split across the 2 hands, and that turned into our 9th no trump trick, right? So
Okay, but if we're starting to count shortness points, we stop counting length points.
for now, don't count length points.
Okay.
So the idea is high cards take tricks, so we count high card points, and shortness takes tricks if declarer can trump in your hand. That's why this caveat about having support for partners suit is so important. And so how much do I add for shortness? If I have a doubleton, I add 1. If I have a singleton, I add 3. This is an improvement over my mom's technology.
Yeah.
Because when I'm supporting partner, if I've got a singleton in a suit, it means that once the first round is gone, we can probably trump a couple of them in dummy before I run out of trump.
So you're saying that if that shortness is in your hand because it's going to be the dummy, that's where its value is, and otherwise it wouldn't have as much value?
That's correct. And I think I forgot to put, I was going to put another little call out box here that said, sometimes called dummy points. If you've ever heard the term dummy points, it's partner suit, and so you're going to be dummy.
Got it.
How does your hand help? Your hand helps when it has high cards, and your hand helps when it has shortness. And if you have a void, you can add 4 or 5 as long as you've got a bunch of trumps. Because if you only have 3 trumps, you're going to run out, and void's not that much better than a singleton. So that's how I count. So example, if partner, this is a hand we saw before, if partner opens a diamond or a heart or a spade, I'm going to look at this as it's 9 high card points, and it's 3 more for shortness in clubs.
Wow. Mhm.
Because I'm going to be able to partner who's going to be declarer, partner is going to be able to trump her little clubs in my hand. And that's going to create tricks. Just like the ace creates a trick and the king probably creates a trick, trumping over here creates tricks. So I'd view this as a 12-point hand when partner opens a heart. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, you're gonna go game.
I'm certainly going to invite. Yeah, I've got 12. Partner has 12 plus. I'm going to invite.
So what's your bid?
With this one, I would bid 3 hearts. Again, we're getting down the line. So if
Okay,
partner
sorry.
opened
Thank
a
you.
heart, I bid 3 hearts. If partner opened a spade, I'd bid 3 spades. If partner opened a diamond, I'd bid a heart and hope she had hearts or spades. Side comment, in a short suit, count the high card points or the shortness. Don't count both. A singleton queen of clubs here is not worth 5 points. It is not worth 5 points. My brother told me this back in the late 60s, when he didn't know what he was talking about, but he was right. So let's summarize how we count points. Opener counts high card points and length. because high cards take tricks and length take tricks. And dummy to be, you kind of know in the bidding if you're going to be dummy, right? Partner opens a heart, you have heart support, you know it's going to be a heart contract and your hand is going to go down on the table. Or I guess on the screen, it just becomes you click on it and nothing happens. You're going to become dummy. And so you're dummy to be. And you're ready to go make a cup of coffee while partner takes 13 tricks. When you're dummy to be, your high cards take tricks and shortness helps as long as you have support. And so we talked before, 1 for a doubleton, 3 for a singleton. If you got a bunch of trumps, you can count even more for a void. So let's look at the 2 hands we had before as an example. So here's the contract. Let's imagine it's 4 spades. This is the hand we looked at before. It's got 12 high and 2 for length. So it's 14. And after partner opens 1 spade, over here we've got 9 high and 3 for shortness is 12. So that's 14 and 12 is 26. And you've probably heard people say, well, with 26, you can make game, right? Well, let's take a look at this for a sec. So let's view the left-hand hand, West, as declarer. And in a suit contract, we count
Losers.
losers. How many losers do we have in spades in the West hand? And remember, we're allowed to use help and high cards from dummy.
Probably none.
Yeah,
None.
none. We got 10 spades with the top 3. So no spade losers. What about hearts?
None.
None.
None, because the ace covers the 9.
Mhm.
What about diamonds?
One.
1. The king comes over to cover the 3, but we got to lose the ace. And what about clubs?
One.
Yeah.
1.
And to be more careful about it, in the West hand, we have 3 club losers. But once 1 round is played, we can trump 2 of them in dummy and make them go away. And that's how the shortness creates value. So we're going to make 5. No, notice that if East only had 1 spade, you couldn't trump the clubs, right? So the shortness in clubs doesn't do any good unless you have support. Questions?
Yeah, this is a dumb question from a newbie.
There's no dumb question.
So if you only had one, if East or whatever, the person with the queen of spades only had 1 spade, why is it that you couldn't trump then?
Well, suppose the bad guys led a spade. Your queen would be gone.
Yeah, and,
And then you couldn't trump any clubs over in this hand.
oh, I see, leading from my hand.
Yeah. That one of the fun things about defense is sometimes you can figure out it's a good idea to lead trump and make
Really?
it hard for declarer, but that's down the line too. So anyway, the idea here is we can trump these 2 clubs over here because we have sufficient length in the trump suit. We have support for partner suit. So this shortness was really valuable. We good with that? Okay, so Deborah, this is the slide that may cause people to flip out. So you guys can stay or not. It might be fun to stay, but
ABNs, what do you want to do? Shall we try and let him flip us out?
Yeah,
Okay, go for
all
it.
right. So this is a really important point, but it's subtle. And if it doesn't make sense today, it'll make sense eventually. And if it does make sense today, it probably won't make sense the next time you're at the table. But 3 or 5 times after that, it will. Okay, so we ready to have some fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose you have this hand and you open a heart for 7, 10, 12, and one for length is 13. And you have this singleton down here that my mom loved, right? My mom would say you're undervaluing this hand. So, but in the new technology, this is 12 plus 1 is 13. Suppose this is partner's hand.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So partner's got 7 points. We got half the deck almost. And let's just imagine for a second that we end up in a heart contract. With hearts as trump, how many tricks are we going to take in declarer's hand in the trump suit?
2.
Two.
2, probably 3, because we've got 7, and so they've got 6, so they probably go 4-2. So we can win the ace king, and then they'll win the queen jack, and then our last one will be good because length takes tricks, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So our if hearts are trump, we're probably going to take 3 trump tricks over here. And we're not going to get any trump tricks in dummy. So despite my mom's love of singletons, it actually didn't add anything to this hand. It didn't create any tricks. And yeah, I know you'll play in one no
Well,
trump.
wait a minute. You're not taking tricks, you're not trumping tricks in the dummy's hand, but the declarer's hand can certainly still trump.
Yes, declarer's hand can trump, but it doesn't create any tricks. Because we're going to take, those 4 heart tricks no
Right.
matter what, or those 3 heart tricks. We're going to take the ace king. We have a couple to lose, and then we've got some length. If we spend our length early trumping clubs, we've spent it. This is the thing that's hard to get your head around. Trumping in this hand doesn't actually add any tricks. Trumping
Because you were
over
going to get them
here
anyway.
add-
You were
Go
going
ahead,
to get
Joel.
them.
Right.
It's because you were going to get them anyway using. the-
You are going to
Right.
get them anyway.
Okay.
You are going to get them anyway.
It gets you a trick, but it doesn't get you an extra trick.
Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you. That's perfect, Mary. It gets you a trick, but not an extra trick. So let's imagine something a little different. You open a heart. And now let's imagine that partner responds 1 spade.
Mhm.
Well, now we know we have an 8-card spade fit or more, right?
Mhm.
And partner is going to be the long trump hand.
But you don't, you've only got 7.
I'm playing bridge.
Well, if I open a heart and partner bids a spade, she's promising me 4,
I'm playing bridge.
right?
Yeah, I'll call you back.
So if I open a heart and partner bids a spade, partner's
So it's not the
promising 4
same-
spades.
Partner doesn't have the same hand, is what you're saying.
Partner doesn't have the same
Okay,
hand. Here's
okay.
partner's hand.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah.
So partner bids a spade and we're going to play in spades. Well, look at this singleton now. And let's look at partner's hand. We're going to count losers from the long hand perspective, right? We got 1 spade loser. We got no heart losers because the ace king cover these. We got 2 diamond losers. Maybe we can lead toward the queen. And if the king is over here, we'll get a trick. But in clubs, now I can trump these clubs over in this hand.
Mhm.
So when I was just looking at my hand to start out and I was opening a heart, I couldn't add anything for this shortness. But once I know that part spades and I can support spades, now my club, my singleton is really valuable. I'm going to be able to get 2 extra tricks for partner by trumping with these little tiny trumps.
You no longer count the length, would you?
I would probably not count the length, correct?
Just curious.
I have a question. That's
Sure.
fine. If you open a heart and your partner bids a spade, that's only promising 4 spades, or is it promising 5?
It's only promising 4. Back when my mom taught me, we would open with a 4-card major. But the name of the game is finding 8-card major fits.
Okay.
And so sometime after my mom taught me, the technology moved toward opening 5-card majors. So when you open a major, you promise 5.
That's only
When
on
you
the opening.
respond, you may have only 4.
Okay, gotcha. So you would have supported this. You would have gone up one at least.
Yep, it would have gone a
Okay.
heart, a spade, 2 spades, probably would have stopped there.
Okay.
And if we look at it for a sec, we agreed we're going to lose 1 spade trick, no heart tricks, 1 club trick after we trump it. If we're lucky and the king of diamonds is down here and we lead toward the queen, we're actually going to make 4 spades. So we're going to make 3 or 4 spades here. Whereas in the upper hand, you know, we were going to take in a heart contract, we were going to take maybe 3 heart tricks and 2 spade tricks and a diamond. Yeesh. So when you have a fit and you have shortness in partner suit, it adds tricks. So that's the blow your mind slide. Was it fun? It's hard to get used to.
My
Right.
mind's blown.
Bill, to change suits, you've got to have the 4, but if you're just supporting the, like, if you're supporting your partner in hearts, can't you just have 3?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. The name of the game is finding an 8-card major fit. And so if partner opens promising 5, you can support with 3. And that was an important technology evolution that happened after I learned from my parents. In fact, it's funny, I taught my wife to play in 1981 and we went to play at local duplicate clubs. And we were bidding 4-card majors and nobody else was. We were opening 4-card majors and nobody else was. And so, you know, we'd see that everybody else was playing the hand from the other side. Because we'd open a 4-card major and they wouldn't, but I digress. So singleton doesn't add tricks in the long trump hand, but it does add tricks in the supporting hand. And this is a totally cool thing. It's very important. It's a little bit subtle, but eventually it'll just make sense. Can we
Well-
get with that?
Yeah.
All righty.
Bill,
Yep.
would you give the YouTube link information for the Planet Hool?
Deborah, can you put it in the chat maybe?
Yeah, put it in the chat.
Hard for me to do that when I'm sharing.
Okay,
You just
Sure.
have to go to YouTube.
We'll
and
certainly
search
do
for
it
Planet
later.
Hool.
thank
Oh.
you.
Oh, Rachel, is that right? What Patty just said? We just.
There it is.
Ted just put-
Yeah,
Ted,
you
you
just
rock.
search,
There
you
it
can
is.
just search
Okay.
Planet Hool.
Yeah.
There it is, Lindy,
I see. Thank you, Ted.
and
Um,
Patty and,
You're welcome.
yeah.
So Deborah, what I'm going to do next is just kind of talk about how many points you need for game and whatnot. Do you want to hang around with your guys or head out or?
I think we'll head out
Okay,
and because it's almost break time.
okay. So
Yeah.
I'll let Marcus work on that, but in the meantime, I'll go forward. and keep
Yeah,
going.
and
Okay.
once those invitations to the breakout room come, oh my God, it's
Okay.
instant gratification.
So for those who are staying, it's important to know how high to bid. And part of the reason for that is that there are bonuses in the scoring for bidding and making game. And game is 3 of a major, 3 no trump, 4 of a major, or 5 of a minor. And you may recall the joke that it's okay to play in 5 of a minor if you have a note from your mother. We definitely prefer 3 no trump and 4 of a major. So, you know, the reason that it makes a difference, here's the reason that we'd like to bid game when we can is if we bid 1 no trump and take 9 tricks, our score is 150. If we bid 2 no trump and take 9 tricks, our score is 150. But if we bid 3 no trump, if we bid game and make 9 tricks, there's a bonus. And we score 400 or 600 if we're vulnerable. And it's really important to see that bidding 1 and taking 9 tricks and bidding 2 and taking 9 tricks have the same score. So if you think you can make a game, you should bid it, but otherwise you want to get out as low as you can. And there's even bigger bonuses for bidding and making a small slam or a grand slam. And that comes back again to we count points to decide how high to bid. And what does point count tell us? These are the general guidelines. They're not guarantees. In order to make game and no trump, you and partner need around 25 to 26 high card points. There's no guarantee. Sometimes you can make it with 23. Sometimes you can't make it with 28. But this is the general guideline. And in a major, 4 spades or 4 hearts, you also need 25 or 26. But now it's high card points plus distribution. In other words, length in opener's hand and shortness in dummy. Remember that example hand that we showed that had 14 for opener and 12 support points? And it made 5 spades, right? It didn't have that many high card points, but it had really lovely shape. Game in a minor, it's an extra trick. So it usually takes about 3 more points. Small slam is around 33. Grand slam is around 37. And sometimes you can make game or slam with less, and sometimes you have these things and you can't make it. Sometimes you'll be in small slam with 33 hard card points, you can't make it. That's just the way it goes. And there's all these bidding rules that get drummed into us. If partner opens 1 no trump, you need to drive to game with 10 or more points. Why? How much has partner promised?
15 to 17.
15 to 17. So how much do we have between us?
27.
25 to 27.
25 to 27 or more if we've got more than 10. So we have 25 to 27. If partner opens 1 no trump, we know we've got game. It's our responsibility to get there. It's not partner's responsibility. Partner already described her hand. If partner opens 1 of a suit, you've heard respond with 6 points. How come? How strong could partner be at the upper end?
21 points.
Yeah, like 21. Once in a blue moon, partner will have 22 and she'll open 2 clubs, but partner could easily have 20 or 21 points. So with 6 points, you've got to keep the bidding alive. That's where this rule comes from. And with 12 or more, you should open. Well, back in the day, it was 13 or more, because if you and your partner both had 13 and passed, you could miss a 26-point game. And now the rule of thumb is 12. So don't ask why. I wanted to just quickly go through these couple of slides. How do you feel about these hands as the opener? Good, bad,
Good.
Good.
Yeah, I got 11 high and 1 for length. It's pretty minimal, but it's an opener.
Yeah.
1 heart.
1 heart.
1 heart, yeah. But after I bid the heart, I'm going to just bid minimally, right? I don't have much more to say. Let's look at this hand. Now I've got 16 plus 1 is 17. That's a pretty good hand. So I'm going to bid. And if partner has much, we might make game. So my theme is going to be to invite. I'm in this kind of, it's pretty good. And what about this guy? I got 19 high and 1 for length. That's 20. If partner responds, what do I think?
Game.
Game,
Maybe slam.
maybe slam. And it's my responsibility to get, because all I promised was 12. Right? And then partner did her courtesy response with 6. And I'm the one who has to shout. I got a, good hand. So one of the things we'll talk about in a few weeks is kind of stopping, inviting, forcing to game. There are point ranges for these things. I hate point ranges. What you want to do is, think Star Wars. Just feel the force. And same thing as responder. I'll just do these really quick because it's 5. If partner opens and you have 6 to 10, I gotta say something. But that's it. 11 or 12. Gee, if partner has a little more than a minimum, we've got game. So I'm gonna have to tell partner at some point that I'm more than minimum. And if I've got 13, it's like, oh my gosh, we're going to game. In this third case, who knows it? Is it me or is it partner?
Partner.
It's you.
Partner opened.
You initially.
Partner opened and said, I have 12 plus. I'm the one who looks at my hand and says, holy smoke, we got game. I got to make sure we get there.
And Phil, what would a forcing bid be?
Oh, there's a variety of them. Like if you open a heart and I'm your partner and I bid a spade, that's a forcing bid. Mostly a new suit by an unlimited hand is a forcing bid.
Okay.
So what are the 10% to remember? Opener counts high cards plus length. If you have support, count high cards plus shortness.
Okay.
And the goals of bidding are to answer 2 questions. What suit and how high? And it's point count that helps us know how high. It's point count that helps us know, do we stop? Do we invite? Do we force the game? So.
Really good explanation, Phil. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed. So today we'll play 4 hands. There's an appendix to this that I think is really nice, but it would take a whole day to talk through it. So.